What's likely to happen to Ishowspeed, just in case maybe he pushes for a mental health break? Because you cannot live a life where you're always running. Even for the best of the best, the lexicon and the avant-garde super pro athletes, there's times that they take a break from competitions to heal, to recover, to rethink, reroute, restructure, re-strategize, and do all of those things. So will Ishowspeed forever be showing speed, or there's a place and a time in life where he will have to pause, take a break from everything? And taking a break from everything means that disconnecting from the streamings, the shoutings, the screens. Fame can be detrimental to your spiritual being, to your spiritual self, and your mental well-being at large. Because when everyone is screaming and shouting your name as a figure, as a personality, you're taking in that energy. You are absorbing and taking in that energy. What happens when people now stop screaming and shouting your name? What happens to you as a person? You eventually become something else. So also you need to ask yourself, what are you becoming in this field, in this realm that you're operating and living in? And if you're futuristic and visionary, you're looking at it in the long run, what's the future? Will you continue showing speed forever? Or there's a time where you'll have to pause and just be like, wait a minute, I need to take a break and breathe in and out. And I think that's where the real conversation for Ishowspeed comes into place. What if there's a fallout? I understand, but I have to be very clear. Ishowspeed is super professional. The way he conducts himself, and now that he's 21, he's an adult. Like, that dude was built and meant for what he's doing. But a time comes when you have to slow down. So if he has this handlers, quote unquote, and I believe at some point, I'd like to think of it that Adin Ross could have been a handler to Ishowspeed, in a sense that when Ishowspeed was kicked out of Cincinnati in Ohio and he moved to Los Angeles in LA, and then continued with his streaming, Adin Ross, maybe in my own thinking, could have played a role in introducing and indicting him into the lexicon of the elites and how they operate in LA. So he was a conduit to Ishowspeed. So he's a potential handler. I'm just using that word because there's a lot that could come into play, especially when a child is vulnerable, moving out, or rather being kicked out of his mom's house. At some point, if you watch one of the streams, Ishowspeed's mom is actually calling him and asking him to go back home. But Ishowspeed is laser focused, resolute, steady, and steady, telling his mom that he's not coming back to LA. He's not going to go back to school anymore. He's laser focused on streaming. And Adin Ross is trying to intervene and convince the mom. So my point is, what if a fallout comes into play in Ishowspeed's life in a way that with all that management, all the people he has met, will they forever keep him? And will he continue performing the stunts until maybe he's 25? Or he will take a mental health break? And that's when the handlers now say, okay, you want to take a mental health break? That means that we are withdrawing the money. We are blackballing you. We have seen this happen to so many of these Hollywood elites, even R&B stars. Carrie Hilson, I think, is a good example, great example. They just disconnect you from the algorithm. I 1000% believe Ishowspeed's content is given first-hand priority on the algorithm, even with the controllers and the owners of YouTube. Whenever Ishowspeed shares something, it is massively promoted on the algorithm for people to see, so that it generates the revenue, and also it meets the targets as well for advertisers, because Ishowspeed is close to the control. Ishowspeed met Mahon Neil, who is the CEO of YouTube, plus many other controllers at the back end. So there's something special that they're ripping out of Ishowspeed, and I pray he gets the right attorneys and the people that are focusing on him at 27, when he's sick and tired of performing stunts, doesn't want to hear people calling his name anymore. He's now developed consciously and spiritually and doesn't want to be a part of the rush and always on the run, showcasing speed, and just want to take a break and relax, chill, and go through life without the chaos of screaming, shouting, ha, ha, all of that. That would be very important. And that's why I tend to believe that Ishowspeed is playing character. He is playing character. He is the star and the world is his stage. But sometimes the play comes to an end, the song comes to an end, and the star has to withdraw back and change costume. And that will affect majorly his mental health and his well-being. So I pray that they don't swindle him. I pray that they don't blackball him, because that's what usually happens. They just promote somebody else. And so they usually threats, oh, you want to take a break? We can promote another streamer. And they always do it in such a humiliating and dehumanizing way. And that's why Ishowspeed constantly says there's a lot of things he had to put into consideration for who he is as a person. So prayers up. I pray that he has long-lasting longevity, strength, and everything he's doing. He's young, and so they'll make so good use of him. By the time he's 25, he'll want to retire. But prayers up. We love him, and thank you so much for putting Africa on the map, man.